Hello band, Mr. Jordan here today, and the subject that we're going to be discussing this week is posture. What is posture? Posture is a fancy word that we use in band that relates to how you position your body in your chair, or if you're a percussionist, if you're standing up when you're playing or when you're waiting to play your instrument. You've probably heard about posture before at Hull Prairie Intermediate, or possibly in another class, or maybe your family's talked about posture. But in band, posture is very important because it's something that affects everything we do in band class, from breathing to playing to having our instrument in the correct position. It all comes down to posture. Every time I listen to bands, either at competitions or I go to another school and I evaluate their band and give the director feedback or think about things that can help our band, the first thing that I do is I look at how the band is seated, or the percussionists, how they're standing on stage. Usually I can get a good read on how a band is going to play based almost entirely on their posture. It's very interesting. If you listen to, or you go to a concert, or you watch a recording on YouTube, check out how the students and the professionals are sitting in their chairs. Most of the time, if they're sitting up properly or standing properly, they're going to have a great sound, and you can tell that they have paid attention to the details that are going to make them great.
Hit 'em high, hit 'em low, go Jackets, go!
In the Perrysburg Junior High School Band, there are 4 major ideas when it comes to using great posture in band class. This mostly pertains to students who sit while they play. Percussionists. At the end of this section, I will be giving you specific tips for great posture for percussionists. But for now, go ahead and follow along because these ideas will help everyone. Step 1, making sure that you have your feet firmly, flatly on the ground. So you want to make sure that the sole of your shoe is flat against the ground. You don't want to have it curled around the leg of the chair. You don't want to have your feet crossed. This is the base of our entire posture in band. If our feet aren't flat on the floor, then the rest of our body is either going to be tilted, slouched, or hunched over. And that's not a good way to sit in band class.
Hit 'em high, hit 'em low, go Jackets, go!
Number 2 is making sure that our rear end, our banduni, our gluteus maximus, is on the front end of the seat. You want to make sure that your back is not ever against the back of the seat. In fact, you should strive to be as far away from the back of the seat as possible. Now, obviously, you don't want to put yourself in a position where you're falling out of your chair, but you want to see how far you can scoot forward on the base of the chair so that you can create a nice 90-degree angle between your knees and the rest of your body. This will really help when you take in great breaths. It will really help propel your sound forward. The 2 instruments that are allowed to sit a little bit further back in their seat for instrument reasons are the bassoon and the tuba. Specifically, the bassoon has a leather strap that connects to its instrument that they counterbalance while sitting on it. Sometimes if they sit in the very front of the seat, that's something that they can't do very well. Tuba players, depending on how they're holding their instrument, either with a tuba stand or in their lap or right on the chair, sometimes have to move around a little bit in their chair to make the instrument fit, and that's okay. But as a general rule, we need to make sure that our rear end is towards the front of the seat.
Hit 'em high, hit 'em low, go Jackets, go!
Number 3 in posture is making sure that from our waist to our shoulders that we are in a standing position. A great exercise to try this technique is to go ahead and stand up straight. Make sure that we're not hunched over or slouching or leaning back. Have a nice posture standing up, and then sit down in the chair directly where you're standing. Your waist to your shoulders should stay the same. A lot of directors will say, keep your back straight. I don't say that personally because sometimes that phrase can make us tense up or feel like we have to pull our back up a little bit. And that's not the case when we're playing our instruments. We need to have a relaxed but a nice straight posture. And I think to accomplish that, a great way to think about it is, how do we stand up straight? And then when we sit down, do we have that same posture from our waist to our shoulders? This is going to create a great air tunnel right here, because your lungs, you got big lungs here, and then you have bronchial tubes here that go into your throat, right? And if we're sitting up nice and straight, but also relaxed, that air is going to be able to travel freely from outside into inside. So make sure that you're sitting up with a standing posture.
Hit 'em high, hit 'em low, go Dragons, go!
And tip number 4 for great posture in the Perrysburg Junior High School Band is always bring your instrument to you. Never bring yourself to the instrument. I have a little instrument here. It is my Clorox bleach-free hand sanitizer. Don't drink this. Okay, so if this is my instrument, right, and I'm sitting up in my seat, and it looks the same because I have a standing posture, right? So I don't even need to be sitting down to do this. So here's my instrument, right? Now, I'm not going to put my mouth on this because that would be really gross. But say this is where I had to play, right? And I had it right here. Then I would do this. And we don't want to do that, because what we're doing is we're hunching over, we're closing down these tubes, and the air cannot get in and out as freely as we need it to. So you always want to have great posture and bring your instrument up to you. So many times you're going to feel a little bit of a lift maybe in your arms for something like trumpet or trombone, flute. You're going to want to keep this right elbow up. Right elbow up at all times. Get that flute up. Right? Clarinet players with your right hand, and saxophone players as well. You know where you put it under that little holder, right? The little thumb rest. You want to push slightly up on that thumb rest, making sure that you're bringing that instrument to you at all times. Tubas and euphoniums, make sure that you position the instrument in your lap in a way that the mouthpiece comes to you. You never want to hunch over for the mouthpiece.
Hit 'em high, hit 'em low, go Dragons, go!
Hello, percussion. It's time to talk about posture as it relates to you. The first step, the feet flat on the floor, really is the same for percussion. So you want to make sure you have a nice firm foundation here for which to stand. You want to make sure that you have your great standing posture that we talked about in the other section with the other instruments. And the relaxation we talk about and not tensing up is really important for percussion. You want to start with having your arms very loose and relaxed at your side. You don't want to tense up here. You don't want to like flex your muscles or anything like that in percussion. You want to stay as relaxed as possible. Now, here's a tip that will really help you with your playing. Make sure that when you're getting ready to play that you lift up here at the elbow. You want to keep your shoulder to your elbow as relaxed as possible. You're really controlling the sticks with your wrists and your forearms, right? So we're never going to be using our elbows. We're never going to be using our shoulders to play. It's all just really nice and tight in here. So we want to make sure to keep this relaxed. Keep this relaxed, and then bring your arms up at the elbow. Then you'll be ready to play. As far as bringing the instrument to you versus you going to the instrument, a good rule of thumb is to set up the snare drum at belly button level. Typically, that is a good height. You want to be able to bring up your arms and be able to play without either having to bring the stroke down too low or having to lean back to play on the drum. So typically, find your belly button and set the top of the snare drum at that. That is a great starting point for the height of your snare drum. Percussion, I hope this helped you and our posture in the Percussion's Corner.